Alrighty, good morning everybody. Happy Friday. It is October 13th. It's Friday the 13th, 2023 in October. Spooky. Let's go ahead and get started with our review. So I do want to bring up yesterday's report and just take a look at maybe some of the plans of action that we were seeing here. So strong market overnight, getting some clues for a bearish pullback coming into the open. The market has already pulled back over 20 points, so no guarantee how much lower price we'll get. But that's the first thing we said in our report yesterday was the market looks like it's probably going to get a bearish pullback. We just didn't know how far it was going to get. We had weekly, daily, monthly showing no sign for the bears. So in a higher time frame perspective, we still expected the bulls to be in power, but the 4-hour and the hourly were hinting at some exhaustion in the rally. If the bears can push price below the minimum 61.8 at 44.03 and below 50% of the previous day, we're targeting to the IL and PDL around 43.77. If the bulls can hold the market above 50% of the previous day, we're going to target up to 44.17 to 23 and blah, blah, and that didn't happen, right, because the market did sell off. So let's look and see some detail here as to what happened on the shorter time frames here yesterday. And again, we said from the high of the day before here, and I should probably bring that vertical line over. Just bring that over to the 12th there. And we'll zoom back to the open here. And again, what we said is we expected there to probably be a pullback from the highs. We just weren't sure how low the market was actually going to pull back. And so just to kind of toot our horn again here, the high of the morning was the scaffolding level to the tick. So the market bounced. Actually, the market, sold off out of the open, which was kind of sticking with our bearish bias. You could have sold the back end of the FMA here, back end of one of our swing levels, all the way down, and I would have taken profit right at our first expected support area. But the market did sell off pretty aggressively out of the open, then held the back end of the scaffolding nearly to the tick, and that was the 50% level as well. 2 times, held it, pulled back, and then we got the push up and right off the VWAP. There is our textbook sell, and I believe it was even a nearly perfect retracement here. Like within a few ticks of the 50% retrace was VWAP, and that we were in a downtrend, right? We had our crossover on our moving averages. Both moving averages were below VWAP. We had that bearish bias for an expectation of a pullback. There's that beautiful kiss right up to VWAP to get short. You could have grabbed yourself, over 10 points to the downside, maybe even 14, 15 points. And then, again, they don't make it easy. So the bulls jump back in, and they came up, and then again, the high of the morning was the scaffolding level. So if you didn't get short over here, you didn't get short off VWAP, well, you got an opportunity to try the back end of the scaffolding level for 1 tick of heat on it, and then we got the biggest sell-off of the morning. So if you caught the scaffolding again with nearly no risk, 44.17, you could have caught, say, 50, 60, 70 points to the downside, something like that. And then interestingly enough, the low of the day, so the high of the day was our scaffolding level here, or at least the high of the morning. The low of the morning was our first retracement we put on the charts. So we came down to the tick nearly. Again, I think it ducked into it by 1 or 2 ticks, and that was the low of the day. So again, here's another day where we nailed the high of the day and the low of the day to the damn tick. And it's unbelievable to me that almost every day that we come into the market, the high of the day is one of our scaffolding levels. The low of the day is one of our scaffolding or one of our fibs. And so yesterday, just another day where the high of the day to the tick was one of our levels, and the low of the day, again, to the tick or within 1 or 2 ticks was one of our levels. So pretty awesome stuff if you ask me. If you didn't get any opportunity out of the open to be short, get short off the VWAP to the tick, get short off the scaffolding to the tick, get short off the FMA out of the open for this first rally lower, or get short off of the back end of the scaffolding as the market sold off. If you missed out on all that, you could have sold as the market rejected at the end of the day or midday, got down below VWAP. In fact, notice what happened here off the back end of VWAP was literally sell off, bounce up, hold it, and then we just started going lower. And then there's your parry off the back end of the scaffolding again. And then, like I said, if you missed all of these opportunities to be, to short the market, you had all of this opportunity to short the back end of the FMA going into, the end of the day there. And then here we are again. The low of the day was our retracement that we put on the charts and told you guys to put on there in our pre-market. And then we got the biggest bounce of the day. And then at the end of the day here, when it bounced, if you were to measure the leg, which I can't do on a 512 chart because it pushes up higher, if you were to measure the leg, we had a 38 here, I believe a 50 here, and a 61.8 here. So as the market bounced yesterday, if you put your fibs up, the high of the overnight bounce or the end of the day bounce was the 38% retracement. So, it's guys, this stuff just works. You have to get used to being wrong sometimes so that when you're right, you can capture these big moves. So that is the review. And again, if you zoom in and you look at the extreme detail here in the market, that 38 retrace, as the bulls rallied it off of the 50 retrace from the leg we were looking at earlier, maybe it was the 38. That 38 retrace we came into and nearly to the tick, hit it, pull back, hit it, pull back, peek through it, got below it, hit it to the tick, hit it to the tick, pull back, there's the 200 parry, comes up, gets through it, pulls back, holds it nearly to the tick to the upside, then rolls over, and then here at the end of the day, the last attempt by the bulls to the tick to that level. So I'm telling you guys, these retracements that we put on the chart, it's not like it's just coincidence. Like there is something going on at these very discrete areas in the chart, right? Where we see nearly to the tick, in fact, many times just to the tick holds off these levels, right? So then coming into the overnight session here, and as you can see, the bulls rallied it into the overnight session, and we fell just a point or two in front of 50% of the day before. So in the overnight session, it failed around 50% of the day before, pulled back. No sexy holds or anything here. It was just a little too far away from the scaffolding there. But what happened, the main thing I want to point out is there was a rejection around 50% of the day before. It sold off in the overnight session, but then the bulls recovered here, got it back through VWAP, and now we're up to new highs for the overnight session. So whatever bearishness we might have been seeing, say in the middle of the night last night, completely changed here when we got this higher low and then this breakout that happened within the last few minutes, right? So all the bearishness we were holding back in the 50 of the day before, we're holding the back end of VWAP and the hopeful and the close of the day before, again, almost to the tick there, got the pullback, and now, bam, what do you know? You get a perfect 50% retrace of this little bounce in the overnight session, and now we're popping up right up into the new highs for the overnight session now. So there's a beautiful 50% retrace and kind of a reverse of the polarity in the market, at least on the short time frames. So that brings us into our pre-market for this morning. Go ahead and bring the short time frames back down here, and we're going to go and pull up the report that I shared with you guys this morning. So